Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our live session today. My name is Larissa. I'm an event planner at Reactor, joining you from Brazil. Before we start, I have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. This session is being recorded and will be available to view on demand here on the Reactor YouTube channel within 48 hours. Keep an eye on the chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for your questions. I will now turn it over to our host and speaker for today. So let's welcome Bethany to start the day.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining in. I don't know what's happening with my Microsoft account. Everything is just like not working anyway. But for today, this is our third session in the series, and I wanted to do a recap first. If this is your first time here, you probably might have missed two other sessions. We had our first session around building your first Microsoft Foundry agent. No, wait. We had our first session around the introduction to Microsoft Foundry Toolkit, where we covered the spectrum of what is Microsoft Foundry and how does the toolkit help you build your agents in Microsoft Foundry, right? That was the first session. And then the second session, which was on Tuesday, we had a session around building your first Microsoft Foundry agent. So we covered step by step using Foundry Toolkit, how can you build your agent and how can you ensure everything is working as needed, right? So for today's session, we're going to cover building a multi-agent with Copilot, a multi-agent with Foundry Toolkit, and we're calling this your personal career Copilot. And we'll be joined by Shivam, who will be taking us through the session. Before I introduce Shivam, number one, we have a repo that has all the resources you need. So you can go, the link will be posted in the chat in a few, and it's also in the description box. We have a link to the repo that has all the files and any of the workshop materials that you might need. So this is where you will find everything you need. If you want to follow along, that's okay. If you want to come out back afterwards, that's also fine. Yeah. And again, we have a very active chat today. So I'm seeing people joining from Kenya, people joining from San Diego. If you have any questions, if you want to ask Shivam any questions, he'll be here to respond to any questions. We also have a student ambassador on the chat. His name is Jeffrey, who will be moderating the chat for us today. Okay, let me bring our speaker for the day. So our speaker for the day is Shivam. Shivam is an MVP. If this is your first time hearing an MVP, so let me explain what an MVP is. An MVP is a Microsoft valuable profession. These are non-Microsoft employees who are interested in the Microsoft ecosystem and build communities around it, right? So Shivam, yes.
Am I audible? Hi, Bethany.
Hi
Hello,
Shivam, you can
everyone.
introduce yourself. Yeah.
So, welcome to the session three of the series of the Microsoft Reactor. And here we will be building upon the multi-agent using as a career co-pilot as our scenario. So, firstly, thank you, Bethany, for providing the brief intro about me and the previous two sessions that we have conducted for this particular series. So, as everyone, if you will remember that session one and two were about mainly about the one agent. So today in this particular event, we will be covering about one agent, how that becomes four, and they hand work to each other. So, but the real story today is much more about the Foundry toolkit or how we can handle the added complexity which comes with the multi-agent scenarios. So, before we start, let me repeat once again. This session is live, hands-on, and recorded. So, if you fall behind during the demo or uh, during the chat, everything is in the repo. Nobody needs to panic type, and there is one link you need for this particular series, the particular session, and for the particular hour, entire hour, and that's on the screen that aka.ms Foundry Toolkit Lab. So you can open that in your second tab right now, lab 1 and lab 2, the finish code, the troubleshooting guide if you face any difficulties, all is all present over there. So we can navigate on there on that part. Right. So just a quick question from the chat. You can either type one if you have attended session one or two before, and or you can type two if this is your first session in the series. Then accordingly we can plan or figure out if anything breakouts in between. So here for today, we will be covering about the four agenda, four agenda as a recap of what session one and two gave us. The case for the multi-agent as a scenario we will be making as concise as possible, and the pattern that is as a one slider basically, and as a main where you need to stay focused on, and the main event as a live walkthrough of the Foundry toolkit, how you can scaffold the multi-agent scenario using a real scenario and to add up your own features. So roughly around that will be around 20 minutes slide, 12 to 15 to 20 minutes slide. Then we will be covering as a demo part. So the scenario that we will be building today is as a resume to job fit evaluator. So the scenario is simple. You paste a resume, a job, and a job description, and you will be getting three things as a fit score, from the zero ranging from 0 to 100, and a gap list and a learning outcomes like with the real Microsoft Learn links which you can navigate. Those are not invented URLs. Those are the last agent calls which are made to the Microsoft Learn MCP, and those are all citable and they return official links. So that's the credibility over there. And we will be having four agents in the pipeline as a resume parser, job description agent, matching agent, gap analyzer, and each one specifically contains one job to perform. So, and everyone has a looked at a job posting, wonder how far we can go, and there's a problem this scenario solves. And today the scenario is about the context, much more about the Foundry toolkit. So, as a prerequisite, so everything which we have left carried on from the lab one, VS Code with a Microsoft Foundry extension, Python, a deployed model, and there's one more new addition. There's some MCP package. That's the only new dependency. Everything you can have from the previous two sessions. So that's the most important decision for our last agent part specifically. And over here for our lab 2, we will be covering two paths like path A and B. Path A just needs a Azure subscription and goes all the way to deployed hosted agent. And in our repository, we are having models from 00 through 09. And for path B, that's from the Foundry local. So there's no Azure subscription needed, and you can perform local testing on your end. And from the repository part, we will be having models from 0 through 05. So you can still run the whole workflow on your end. So if you don't have any Azure subscription, you can take path B and your endpoint and the model that becomes your local host, and the 54 mini or any other local model that you will be using. So you can get the model ID using the Foundry model list. So to get the exact model name. So just let's start from the quick recap. So session one was from Junji Lee, that's the PM of uh, Foundry Toolkit. So like he already covers what the Foundry Toolkit was and how you can add Foundry Toolkit to the VS Code, create and run the agent locally, and how you can use the agent inspector as well over VS Code. And the session two was covered by Bethany, our host. So you can have Python hosted agent as the end-to-end writing instructions, testing the boundaries, and deploying, verifying everything locally as well and in the playground. So everything which we will be building today is built on their work, so there's nothing extra. As a quick hosted agent will be deployed using a container, and will be answering to the slash responses endpoint. So there's the same deployment that we have covered in our session 2. So there's the only difference is one agent becomes four. So that's the main difference from the uh, lab two and this scenario, like session two and this session. So there are few other changes as well from lab one to lab two that Bethany has covered. So there's already that I've discussed that one agent becomes four, like which is chained via workflow builder. There's a basic agent framework template. That's how it becomes the workflow agent framework template, and how one single agent becomes the as a three agent sequential running agents, and our new package MCP, and a new function as a tool calling function as a search Microsoft Learn for plan. That's the tool name for the MCP package of Microsoft Learn MCP. So there's also you will be adding orchestration, so there's not relearning from the toolkit part. The job for the main toolkit is to make the delta feel small, and all those 5 minutes greeting will be over, like all the 30 minute 5 minutes will show. So it might possible that many of the audience will have a quick question, as and I will be questioning from the comment section as well, like why not just use one agent, and how we will be using four agents over this step, as a why just use one agent for all four steps. Do you, anyone from the comment section can answer that part?
I don't think it's a bit delayed, so I don't think they've
Okay, okay.
gotten the question. So Shivam is asking, you might be wondering, why should he use four agents instead of using just one agent? Um, as someone who just built one agent, I think it can do pretty much everything, but then it reaches a point where you might be giving it too much instructions or like
Correct.
context, and it might lose some of that context. So it's easier if you have agents that specialize in one thing versus just one agent that you think can
Yeah,
do
exactly.
everything, but
That one
yeah.
instruction that becomes too long and messy to decompress again, to debug where the issue was coming from, and it's really hard to fix. Like nothing can be reused for any other different jobs later on. So like it's like
Yeah.
reusable if we use multi-agent scenarios. So that's the main point over here. When we use four agents for different four jobs instead of using a single agent for doing multiple job profiles. So we will be splitting into four separate agents, and you can really go through and really go through each one's work from the toolkit agent inspector, you will see in the live demo as well. And you will be seeing how four agents only does one job and passing to the next sequential jobs, and simple jobs are easy to test and easy to trust basically if you need more transparency and traceability in the agent scenario.
Yeah, we have two responses from the chat. So we have Bilal who's saying one agent can't do that much things. Four agents
Right.
will perform work more efficiently and in a good way. And then Kanye is saying each agent has a focused job. So a single agent with 20 different responsibilities needs a very big prompt system and has to constantly decide like what should I follow, what should I not follow. So having them specialize
Okay.
on a specific thing give them like a bit of focus. Yeah.
So audience are pretty much smarter than they do have the idea. So yeah, so like let me walk through the architecture as well for the toolkit and our scenario that we have built in the lab 2. So there's one message, if you see from the left to right, containing both the resume and the job description together, and you will be sending it once and you will get the answer back at the end, and everything in between handles automatically by the agent scenario. So the box around everything, like all the four agents living inside one big box, that's the outside world, and the whole box count as a one agent for the Foundry toolkit as well. And for also, but for Foundry, this platform running this is only sees as a single unit instead of multiple units. So like first one creates the resume, passes the job description along to the next one. The second one pulls out what the job actually requires and passes the already read resume along to, like is a context pass on. And the third one compares the two output given by first and second agents and give a score out of 100, and as a and also a list of gaps. And the last agents turn those gaps into the learning path. So that's a much more important definition over here, that each agent can only see what's the agent right before it's set, like not the whole chain responded with. So not the earlier steps or not your original message. Because in simple terms, we don't want to let this agent see the whole conversation. Otherwise, it will be seeing much more context overloading. So we will be having the context mode as our last agent specifically. So only the first agent will be seeing your original message, and a later agent will be something from the like, however I say, as a handover to the second agents on the purpose as we grow on the downstream. So so here's what the inside picture looks like. The first agent instruction tell it to copy the job description text and paste in as a bottom of its own answer. Then the next agent can read it, and the second agent does the same thing with the resume info as well. So the third agent has both the info from the first and second agent. Then on the every run, it reaches out to the outside service from using the Microsoft Learn MCP server. It looks strings from the Microsoft Learn, and it's just reading and writing text, nothing external from the first, second, and third agent. So the tool that we will be using to connect this, it will be that doesn't wait for everything to be ready first, so that it will be feeding anything will be act as a ready instance. So we will be just sending out one by one. So to keep the things simple, one thing in and one thing out, nothing much more complex around the line. So also, if you notice one more last thing at the bottom of the slide, this exact same setups run two different paths with zero changes needed. So you can test on your end in the machine as well using the F5 as a agent inspector. Then you can pass the same code back to the as a deploy to the Foundry uh, AI Foundry, Microsoft Foundry, and you can test that same idea over there. So any okay, Bethany, how would you suggest? Should we take the questions at the end or
We can track the questions as we go. So,
okay?
but yeah, we can take the questions as we go because they're very interesting. So there's one asking, will there be high latency on the response when you have multiple agents? And can you say there will be high latency depending on how you orchestrate them? So the question is, how do you ensure that the latency is reduced from your orchestration?
So like that also depends on what are the tasks they are performing, how complex those are, and how you are planning to orchestrate them. So that's depend on the external services, how it's difficult to get them in the very first place. So like latency depends on the response as well, on the instructions, the prompt given.
Yeah. And then the other thing, again, it all narrows down to the instructions. The other question is I remember reading somewhere on Reddit that as per the recommendation Microsoft gives, you should have, if you have like more than 30 actions, you should subdivide into different sub agents.
Hmm.
Is that the right approach? In my tech, 30 is a lot for just one agent. So probably narrow it down to like if you have more than four. But what do you think, Shivam?
I would say different tasks needs to be separated. Either you can create a multiple skill.empty file to have a specific instructions per agent, and if the task is simple, like multiple tasks are simple, you can have into a single instruction file and give it to the with the context and either some kind of reasoning or few short example that would much more helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, we can continue. I think that's the entire of the question, but it makes sense. It's again, we all have that human judgment in the sense of if
Yeah,
this was a person, an intern, or like someone who might not know enough, what task should I give them versus what task should I separate and give someone else? Yeah.
and later on you will not be able to either fix or debug was the uh, like error comes up or any bug resolves, or if you want any other kind of response from the agent or the expectation or something else, so that alignment wouldn't be possible if you have a single instruction over there.
Yeah, true.
So also here's the part that connects four agents together and is merely about 10 lines of code. So like the main point is not to notice is to how you can connect four agents together in short and simple code snippet, and all the real complexity that all the wiring up the agents, all things will be managed by Foundry itself. So the first agent is the only one that receives your original message, and the last agent answers what actually gets sent back to you. So every connection in between will be as a three connection as a edges present over using the micro workflow builder, and one final line that turns everything as a workflow from the as a start executor, output executor, and you can add the edges multiple. For example, in this scenario we have the three connections in between, and at the end as agent building there's a single end that converts all the four agents sent up into a single agent from the outside. So the last agent that has exactly one tool, that's the to look things up from the Microsoft Learn and to for every skill gap it finds. It also Microsoft Learn for real learning content and get back with the working links and verified. So also their setups take around 10 to 15 lines of code. So that's also much more beneficial in this part. So you can take MCP as a common language that help your agent ask an outside service for information in the simple plain language. If I need to explain the point, so also for as a privacy note, your resume and job description itself never leaves the agent. They are not being sent anywhere using the MCP tool and or any other external services. So they will be staying within the agent, first agent itself, nothing else. So as a safety net, if that outside lookup service is ever unreachable, the agent will still gives you the learning path, but the links that might be the wrong or make up links by the agent itself. So here are the five simple steps that get from testing this on your own local machine to being live and usable by anyone in the internet. So one is you can click to the button to start the process. Your code gets packaged and uploaded. Three, as a small file, register this as an official deployable agent. So, and four, it starts running in the cloud with its own automatic login credentials from the Azure. So you nothing has to nobody has to set up this all manually and from the scratch. And at the end, it's now reachable as a same exact way the simple agent from the last session was that Bethany shown. So the key sentence is here as a key takeaway that whole four agent setup is treated as a one single deployable thing to your Microsoft Foundry, and you can click as a one button to deploy it, and everything will be converted by the Microsoft Foundry toolkit as well. So you don't also okay. Let's start with the demo part itself then. Also, yeah. So there's a full lab with 8 parts you can walk through, and right now I'm going to live demo the middle part of it. And if needed, there was there any question? Okay,
Yes, I wanted to ask you to zoom in a bit and close the sidebar.
is
Yeah,
it fine now?
another, no, just like two more.
Okay,
Okay, that makes, yeah, now I can see. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
all right.
Oh, and then if you were in our first session, the steps are the same in terms of you'll go in, install your VS Code, Foundry Toolkit for VS Code extension. But this time, instead of the basic template, yeah, so Microsoft Foundry
Foundry
Toolkit.
toolkit.
Oh, yeah, they removed the Microsoft. Yeah,
Yes.
that one. And then
Basically.
when you go to the sidebar, there's like the Foundry Toolkit menus. Yeah, yeah, where you are. Yeah. So with here, you can see how you can create your agent. So when you click create agent, last time we used the templates. So browse all samples. Samples. No,
Browser samples.
sample.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you'll have to like look for the workflows sample. I think this is the easiest. Yeah, that one. And
Right.
yeah, you'll
The
get
next setup.
yeah. You can skip or set up with Microsoft Foundry depending on what you want. And then when you
I
finish,
have
you'll
the
have
things
the
ready over
profile.
here, so I can open them
Yeah.
directly. but
Yeah.
there are some most simple ways how you can deploy or create your own agent as a, even if you want to build a single agent or multi-agent, there are few other frameworks that also been added in the Foundry toolkit lately, as a agent framework which gives you enterprise grade flexibility. And the harness that Copilot harness, there's a new term that's been repeated over the year, over this few weeks that I'm seeing, and the length graph. So there's are the most simple setup things over there. Or you can search over here as a multi and click on next and everything will be set up.
Yeah.
So I just want to highlight the main file as well. And one more thing, it will be like created as a another step as a like as a brand new project. It will take out around 30 seconds to deploy, and after creating the sample you can select the starting template here, and I will be picking one that we have already been built as a connecting multiple agents together. So like for the scaffolding part, I will recommend to open it in any another like window, not in the same module, to test for the local deployment as well. So you can have a separate window open, for example, that I have opened in my VS Code. And if you I scroll the main.py, that's I've already like built it and deployed the code in the like GitHub as well. So you can see up the code, and let me show the workflow builder over here. So this is the code as a 10-line connection code from the slide, and this time actual code you will be seeing. So it tells the first agent, which agent goes first and which agent goes as a final one, as a start executor, output executors, and then turns the whole thing into something that behaves as a single agent, as agent at the last end. And there's the entire wiring of the whole workflow agent, and these are the agent themselves just above it. Um, these are the agents, and their instructions are present over here as a gap analyzer instruction, matching agent instruction, job description agent. Also, uh, for the gap analyzer, this is a tool that points us to the Microsoft Learn MCP as a lookup service, and that's the entire connection to the outside service. And you can just describe it as a tool, and toolkit can upload it as a agent perspective. So here are the tool just connected to the gap analyzer agent. So you can just run it, and then let's see how it runs up. So you can click as a F5, and it will be start deploying locally. Yeah. Let me copy paste one sample over here as well. Yeah. So start. You can see all four agents being set up over here, the connection between them being registered, and then let's wait for the signal. Then when it's ready. So for real test scenario, I will be using the engineer's resume compared against a cloud architect job opening. So you will see one request goes to the outside service at the end. Just a second. Let's see. The credentials are being acquired. Yeah, so here the tool calling being started, and if you can see over from the events as well, so the responses section been added, and the tool calling also you can see as a argument being passed and the result that you have got. So here the fit score learning with real working links present with their priority, current level, and suggested resources from the Microsoft Learn MCP. And they are just not the makeup links, they are the real pages, real content, everything. And you can also have a learning order in present, even the week by week timeline. Oh, as a and as a motivation quote for you at the end. So there's a simple as a local tester for you in the agent inspector, and you can deploy it over the toolkit part in the Microsoft Foundry using the deploy option. But before that, you can always see go th- go through the tools calling from the search Microsoft Learn for plan. That's our tool name with all the links present and the events responses. So you can have that traceability present as well. And over here in the overview section, you will be able to see the latency in total with all the tool, all the running, and whether the timeline was completed or not completed. Yes. So let me share my screen back for the on the PPT slide. So for that, in the demo, we have understood how the like we understood the architecture, then created new project for the Microsoft Foundry toolkit. Then we have configured agents, their instructions, the MCP tools, and then the orchestration pattern, and we have tested locally. Then now we will be deploying the same to the Foundry, how the container ACR, and then we will be verifying in the playground. Bethany, can you help in the from the Foundry playground part?
Give me 1 second. I am trying to log in to Foundry. Oh, I have to authenticate. So I think the main thing from the playground, if you, okay, I think I can share my screen for a while. If you go to the playground and you can, Larissa, you can switch to my screen.
Hi, Bethany. I'm not seeing your screen sharing.
Oh, I stopped sharing my screen. This is the beauty of a live. Yay, finally back. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's continue. So I was having issues logging into Azure, so I had to like clear everything out. Okay, so this is where you see like the playground where Shivam left off, right? The best way, if you really want to deploy it to Foundry, just click the deploy button. That's it. Once you
Correct.
click the deploy button, configure what you want and deploy. You can see if you come, the other beauty is if I come to this is my resource group, and then I have like models, so I can see which models I've already deployed on Foundry. And I also have agents. So which agents do I have already deployed? You can say this is the model, the agent we used on on Monday, I think. On Tuesday, that's when we deployed our first one. And then I deployed this today. This is the career Copilot, right? So this is the one I've just deployed. And we want to see it in Foundry. It's still redirecting. I thought we would have done so much. Yay, we're in. So when you look at in Microsoft Foundry, um,
And you can see that running as well as a under the hosted agent list for your
yeah,
particular resource. So you will be getting the same results, same real links, except now it's live on the internet and you can deploy it anywhere and use according to your needs.
yeah. So as Shivam has mentioned, you can. The beauty about deploying a hosted agent is you can deploy it anywhere. So whether you want to deploy it on Teams or M365, or if you want to deploy it as a web app. Currently, it's already like a web app. So if I like click, it will open up to a new web app that I can still chat with the agent. And you can see it also showing me the code. I can share it out and anything else that I need to configure, right? So let's go back to the playground. Our question for this. Um, this is workshop 2. We want to test, again, everything you want from getting started to the end. You can do everything. All the instructions are here, but we want to test it out, right?
We can have the
So
same scenario as a same
have I
resume
used the
JD
same?
in the
Uh, so
readme
that
file
will
of the
be
agent.
this one, right?
Agent file. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So this is scenario one. So what we want to see is this time we've added the Microsoft Learn MCP server, right? So let's see if it will work. Fingers crossed. It takes a while because we have a ton of agents working. So again, the latency question. So we have, let me minimize this. So we have how many agents do we have working? Back to you, Shivam. So we have 4. So which ones do we have? We have the resume, yeah, the 4. The
Yeah,
resume
we
one.
have all for.
Yeah. So we have the resume one, we have the gap analyzer, we have the one that gives us link to Microsoft Learn, and then we now have the one that checks if you job fit, right? So this is what it's come up with. I'm hiding URLs. So let me unhide them for a minute. So number one, you're getting the question. This is your CV, and then this is the job description that you want. So if you look at the response, we have the personalized learning roadmap for a senior engineer. And you can see if it's like something with Azure, it's giving us like the actual parts that we can use on Microsoft Learn. So if I open up here, it's parts on Microsoft Learn that you can use to learn whatever you need to learn, right? And then the second one is Kubernetes. So if you want to learn about Kubernetes, probably this is the best use case. You can go ahead and do the exam and certification. And then 3, Terraform. So if you want to learn about Terraform, 5 is Go. So we don't have a Go specific learning path, but then you can be able to see, okay, that's something you need. So you can be able to see where you can find the resources. And those are very many resources that you need. The main thing I normally look at is the tokens consumption. So how much tokens do you use, the latency, selling us 59 seconds, which is really good. And then the tools that we used. So this is the tool that we use, search for Microsoft Learn for Plan. Then if you come to traces, traces will show you a breakdown. So let me hide your house again. Traces will show you a breakdown of what was happening. So for example, the first agent, we invoked that agent, and then we have the execute tool that was also invoked. And as you go in, you can see all the different the different actions that are performed, right? As you go in and out and figure out, okay, I think let me, oh yeah.
I need to add one more point over here. You can see
Yeah.
the same traces part from the Foundry toolkit as well, from the Foundry toolkit under your VS Code itself. But you need to start the traces as a garbage collector. There's a some wording present over there. Let me just reconfirm it. And then
Yeah.
during your agent deployment as well, you can able to capture all the traces and collect and review. That's the same scenario that the Bethany was showing in the found Microsoft Foundry.
In Microsoft Foundry, yeah. So you can do the same locally. But yeah, we've got all our four agents working together. We have other, if you look at the repo, we go to uh, back to the docs and then verify in playground. We have the other two other scenarios that you can check out and see, will it work as expected? Is there anything that you want to fix? And yeah, so those are like four different agents working together to be able to figure out, is your resume okay, and can you, what changes do you need to do? So this is
Yeah.
a lab I'll recommend for you to do. Yeah. Back to you, Shivam.
So let me just share my screen back again. So uh, here Bethany has covered the last 2 points as a verified in Foundry playground. And if you are stuck somewhere, you can just refer to the troubleshooting guide. We have the same error messages present over there, and you can see how you will be able to fix those solutions. So there's nothing to just like being stuck or being panic over there. So to wrap up the things, here's everything you have saw in the Foundry toolkit that is does today. From the start to finish, it create new multi-agent project for you in seconds. Then it connected four agents, multi-agents together with just few lines of code. Then it let us check each agent's work separately from the traces as well, and from the uh, logs as well as the responses present when we have tested locally in F5. And there are three things that you could try next on your own, that you could have one agent also go to several agents at once and instead of one at a time. So different setup that what we have built today. So as a, and you can always make a PR as well to our repository, and you can test each agent on its own with your own example. So over here we have three QR codes on the screen. So I will request to get your phones out, and I will leave this up for a bit. So first code, as a full hands-on workshop, everything we have covered today and in the past series, that's available in 50 plus languages, and we will be adding more content soon in the workshop with new features coming up with the Foundry toolkit as well. Second code as a more example projects like this one, and a place to ask if you get stuck somewhere, and you can reach out to me anyways for any help. And the third code where you can find my other talks, my articles, my projects, and everything about me. So you can reach me directly from my portfolio or from the third code present over there. So the simply the ask is you can try building something with this from the Foundry toolkit and let me know what you have made, and I would generally love to see it. So now we are open to questions.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask. And then I also had a follow up. If you are interested in engaging more, we have a Foundry Toolkit channel on Discord. So if you want to catch us, that's, I think for me, I'm very slow replying to LinkedIn and social media. Probably none of mediums might be open, but come join us on Discord, ask any questions. If you try out the lab, yeah, tell us what you think. I don't think we have any question. The most majority of the people in the chat were asking around link to the previous sessions. So we've shared that, as well as links to
Okay.
the repo. So if you loved the sessions as well, go give us a star on GitHub. Like just share with us and just tell us, yeah, this was good. Here's a star for you. Yeah, I think that is about it. Unless, is there anything else you want to add on, Shivam?
No, nothing else. Just test and try to build something actual for the real scenarios. That, for example, that we have the career Copilot over here that's been built using toolkit. Try and let us know how you build was a new scenario. Even on the Discord server, we have the community showcase, and you can always
Yeah,
put up your GitHub links and showcase what you actually built over there. And the Bethany link basically is the Discord link. So you can always reach out to us. Even I'm also active on the Discord. So you can just
yeah.
ping at the Shivam and I will be able to answer all those.
Yeah, again, if you have a real use case scenario in terms of, for us, it's very personal in terms of maybe you're looking for a job. So, how can you get access to the job that you're looking for, right? So, that was our scenario. And the other scenario was maybe you're struggling with communication. How can you have an agent that summarizes technical terms in such an executive manner? So yeah, let us know if you have any unique scenarios that you want to try out. But yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for joining. It's been lovely, a lovely evening in Kenya, and I think it's already night in India. So yeah,
Night.
thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, team.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you for the session today. And thank you all for joining us. Here at the Reactor, we are always looking to improve your experience. So if you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find the link to our survey on the screen or in the chat. And we'll see you on the next one.